going on outside. There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. Rest in peace, prodigy of Mobb Deep. Rest in peace. Those words are very true. They've never rang truer than today. Because it's never enough. And I hate that I had to make this video. I do. But salutations, comrades. Right? I hope you lot are all pissed off, miserable and angry as I am. Right? Because I've always tried to keep uprightedness as the focal point and create codes of conduct. But today, I'm with the total opposite shit. And I am going to be promoting and endorsing Machiavellianism. Yes, I am. Because we're under attack, right? And I had the pleasure, right? Because I don't know if any of you have seen my post about the film Obsession, right? And The Backrooms. I just so happened to watch them back to back, right? Online, illegally. Yes, I don't go to cinemas. Sorry, I'm not doing that shit, right? So I don't know if I'm drawing these parallels out of schizophrenia or some type of, weird correlation. But those two films, although they are great films, right? Especially compared to the bullshit that's coming out today, they're actually good films. But I can't help but feel under attack from both of these films, right? Particularly the film Obsession. Because before I watched it, right, and I don't really watch new films, I pretty much watch old films or, cult classics. That's my type of categories that I'm into. But when I saw this movie being advertised everywhere, especially if you watch YouTube, you just get your random ads. And I saw this film advertised so much, and I thought, oh, it's just about a crazy woman, right, or a crazy girl, and she ends up falling in love with someone, and then it becomes overbearing. And I obviously, just based on the trailer, I had no idea what I was in store for, and it turned out to be, right, although I'm gonna put this out there again for the record, it is a good film, right? Just for 90 plus minutes is a good film. It's exciting, it's creepy, but it's that undertone of toxic masculinity, attacking toxic masculinity, attacking men for the things which are inherent within us, for the things we can't control, right? And an intrinsic attack on us. And I'm sick of it. So I'm like, nah, we're going to fight back. We're going to double down. You want to go there? You want to throw mud? You want to sling mud? We're going to go further. Because when I saw that film, right, it was the complete opposite shit. It was about an inky. It was about a guy, right, who's basically in the friend zone, right? The things which we talk about so often and so frequently around these spaces, right? He was in the friend zone. And one of his friends was basically, for those who haven't seen it, spoiler alert, right? One of his friends is smashing his love interest, the girl of his dreams, right? Because he's on this gump shit. So he ends up going to a voodoo rabbit's paw shop, right? And he buys this one wish stick. And he breaks the stick and he says something to the effect, I want the girl I'm interested to love me more than anyone in the whole world and all this shit, right? And obviously, because he went to the voodoo man, right, it becomes, being a Faustian deal where, yeah, you're going to get what you want, but you're not going to get what you want type of deal. And she ends up being crazy, basically, and killing people and causing him grief. And one of the most disturbing, right? And don't get me wrong, throughout the duration of the film, there's undertones of it, or we're attacking men here, where, look how men really talk about women. Look how you objectify women. And I felt like, what the fuck? I did not picture this from the trailer. I didn't know it was going to be this level of propaganda. Then I'm wondering why so many people are making reviews about it, why so many people are giving it 5 stars and all these. Yeah, it's a good film, but it ain't that good. It's not that good, right? It's only good in comparison to the garbage that's out today. It's not a Pulp Fiction, right? It isn't. It isn't a Kill Bill. It's not that type of classic. It's not a The Shining. It's not a Clockwork Orange. Like, we're not doing that. But the reason they love it so much is because it's an attack on men, and it's a really good one if I'm being completely honest, right? But there's a sex scene, and basically, before you get to the sex scene, what it actually shows you is that the woman who he cast the spell on, or who made the wish on, she's not truly in control of her senses and her faculties. So she's basically a prisoner within her own body. Because that magic or that spell, that witchcraft, right, it's made her almost like a husk. So she's in her body, and when the wish is being granted, she's conscious of it mentally, right? Spoiler alert, sorry if any of you are going to watch it. So she's conscious of what's happening. So she's trapped in there, and this guy's having sex with her, and she's basically starfish. She's not doing nothing, right? So that's great. That's great. Let's just cut this shit. That's great, right? And I'm not going to spoil the rest of the film, but I suggest a lot of you guys watch it. And I'm not telling you to go to the cinema and pay these dues. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying bootleg it. We are bootleg gang over here, right? Backrooms pissed me off as well, but you need to watch that as well. It's a great film because it's about a wage slave. It's about a jester maxer, right? Somebody who, for all intents and purposes, a divorced man who's down on his luck. And then he finds somewhere to escape to, somewhere to feel that, this is mysterious. I'm going to become famous. I'm going to become rich if I find some, if I can, find some way to utilize this. Or, it's an adventure film, right? And then it turns into a survival horror where he's just confronted by his trauma in his past. And he ends up dying at the end, right? Spoiler warning, he ends up dying at the end. And then there's this woman who's inconsequential, right? His therapist. She ends up surviving because she's the strong, empowered woman who, toxic masculinity. Oh, look how angry they are. Look how they're always wrestling with themselves, their mental health, mocking you for feeling disenfranchised, mocking you for taking L's, which the world has already thrust upon you. The game is rigged. And when you don't win, they want to rub it in your face. They want to rub salt in your wounds. But then the woman therapist who's rich, yes, she's alone by choice, because we all know that women are never truly single. And if she wasn't some higher IQ, stuck up, empowered woman, she could easily find a date. But no, she's a rich, a six-figure earner, therapist, hearing everyone's problems. And she's the powerful one that ends up surviving, right? Well, she ends up as a mutant at the end, but it's weird, yeah. If you want to look into that, after you watch it, whatever. But it's a weird ending, right, in the back rooms. But it's the same principle. They don't even offer us a way out, bro. They don't even offer us a way of surviving. They don't even offer us a good W when it comes to these very hyper-popularized films. They want to show a man being destroyed for who we are intrinsically. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm sick of it, right? And I want vengeance. I want revenge. With interest. And I'm going to tell you guys, I am going to support some element of Machiavellianism. And your first job is to take. It is to take, and with interest. Your sweaty humanoid parents did 15 minutes of jujitsu and created you. Slaves to their biology. Yet what's more ironic is that they expect you to overcome all the odds, become rich and retire them early. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it 100. Because I don't believe in the love bullshit. I don't believe in the love nonsense. I've got too much evidence around me to just subscribe to that. I'm sorry. I was born one day, but I wasn't born yesterday. Now, can you say that your parents love you in the sense of they want you to do well? Yeah, if you're just gonna, be so reductive to say that's love, then this is stupid. This is just common decency. This is just a common courtesy at this point. I want strangers that I don't even know to be okay. I don't want harm to come to them, and I want them to be happy. So if you're saying that, oh, your parents love you because they want that for you too, I think you're stupid, right? Because I don't believe in love for real. Because a lot of your parents, your mothers and fathers included, right? All they did was give into their biology. And then during that 9-month gestation period, whether they stay together or not, whether your mother starts formulating an exit plan, whether your father thinks, oh yeah, let me go buy a pack of cigarettes and never come back, irrespective of the outcome, even if they try to play happy families and it doesn't work, deep down, they've got a plan for you. They've got a formula for you to follow. They want you to become rich and retire them. If we're just being honest, right? And it's helpful because at the end of the day, when you are born, right, and then they pour into you and you stress them out and you make your dad bald and fat and you give your mum a heart attack, right, they're at least going to have a little slave running around where they can say, oh, go wash the dishes, go hoover up, go sweep the floor, and go take the trash out. So it's useful to have you around. It's useful to have you around. They're going to start claiming that dividends back immediately. Immediately, they're going to put you into the school system. They're going to throw you into the shark tank. They're going to throw you into the deep end. And they're going to say, swim, boy, especially if you're a boy. Now, some may argue and say, oh, there's some good elements of that where, oh, you got to learn how to survive. You got to need to survive. And that is true, right? But I'm not somebody that dwells on truisms. We're not doing that today. Because the thing is, I try to be rational. I try to be calm, right? Often. I fail at it a lot, to be honest. But I try to be rational, right? And I try to be fair. But when I'm angry and heated like this, I want you guys to be emboldened. I want to galvanize you, right? These people hate you. So you need to hate them back, man. I'm talking, this is some Hammurabi's law shit, bro. An eye for an eye. You take my eye, I will take yours. I will take yours. And if we end up blind, so be it. May the chips fall where they may. But I'm not going to walk around blind, right? Because you took my eye and you're still strolling the earth with your 2 eyes. Now I want that eyeball too. And if you take my eyeball, right, and you don't want to call it even, and we don't want to walk around with 1 eye each, then take my other eye and I'm going to take your eye and then we're both blind. And apparently we're going to fall in a ditch. So it's their fault for throwing the first blow. It's their fault. Because oftentimes I do talk about accountability here. And I'm not going to ignore the mission, right? Let me just make this clear. I'm not ignoring the mission. Because I'm extremely critical of the world. I'm extremely critical of myself. I don't like weakness. I very much so dislike weakness and softness. Very true. And I'm very vocal about it, right? Some people hate it and then they run away. Others embrace it and it helps them and galvanizes them on their mission. And to those of you who are in that category, I appreciate you truly, each and every one of you. But there are times where I'm going to say, let's put us on the back burner and let's talk about who the enemies are and identifying them. Because these normies, these blue... Look, I always like to make differentiations between normies and blue pills. But once you are a little bit awkward, right? Once you've got a little bit of the isms, right? Whatever ism it is, right? Or you're a little bit on the spectrum, or you're a free thinker, a critical thinker, or you're somebody that you don't want to follow the status quo, it's very hard to get these people to follow you, right? It's like the story of Noah, right? Where he said, oh, yo, bro, the shit is going to rain soon and it's not going to stop. And there's going to be a flood coming. You're all going to die. So come help me build this boat. Come help me build this ark and we'll be safe. But these niggas didn't want to listen to him. And a lot of you guys, a lot of you brothers listening, you're in that position because you probably got siblings, right? You probably got friends and family who are basically tuned into the matrix, bro. They are just, they're husk. If we're just being honest, they're homunculi, right? They're just being programmed and indoctrinated by the mainstream media, by the elites. And it's very hard to have genuine, meaningful, purposeful relationships with them. I understand that. I'm in that position too. And even to be fair, they can make that same argument. But the difference is we are following the rhythm of our own drum. We are following our spirit. We are following our intuition. We are using all 5 senses which are afforded to us. That's what we're doing. can they make the same argument though? Can they say the same thing? That's a genuine question. If I ask the average normie why do you believe what you believe? They're going to say, oh, I read it in a book. Oh, I saw it on TV. I watched the documentary. Do you not understand that the truth of this world, the things which are hidden from us, in some of it's hidden in plain sight, but the true information, it isn't accessible. And a lot of the things which we think we know are lies. This is why so many men are opting out altogether, because so much shit that we think we know or that we were led to believe, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a convoluted system of ideas to turn us into wage slaves, to turn us into batteries. That is the truth. And then when you start to become cognizant of these things, then of course you're going to be disenfranchised. Of course you're going to be angry. You're going to be jilted, especially if your life isn't going the way that you planned, especially if your life is objectively bad compared to your peers. You're going to have a chip on your shoulder. You're going to be angry. You're going to wake up feeling like you are in the back rooms where every day is a nightmare. You're going to feel like you're already in hell. So when people's morality starts to bend, when people's views become perverse, don't get me wrong, I'm not giving them a way out. I'm just saying I understand it. And I too was one of them. And I've made it clear many times. I was a doomer. I was negative. I was a rotter. Not for long. I wouldn't prolong. I wasn't in a prolonged state of that. But I've had times in my past as a young man, especially, where I did fall into those categories. Where I did wake up and think, oh, what's the fucking point of this shit? Waking up feeling like shit, not wanting to go to work. Didn't care about my weight. Didn't care about nothing. I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I didn't care if I lived or died. And to be honest, some element of that still exists within me because I don't care if I live or die. And even though I'm trying to work towards something, I'm trying to build you brothers up to strive for some form of, excellence or some form of freedom whilst we are in this shit reality, right? A little part of me, just a little part of me in the back of my mind, it's always like, oh yeah, I hope aliens attack. I hope an asteroid hits. I hope some form of, extinction level event happens, essentially, because I just want it to be over. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to keep waking up. I'm tired, right? As most of us are. But there's nothing wrong with feeling like that, especially in today's society where they've painted you as the enemy, and then you're gonna end up being the bad guy all the time. Why? When people are trying to, find chinks in your armor, they're throwing stones at you, they're spitting on you, slapping you. And then when you start to raise your hand, they're like, oh, look at him, he's violent. Look at him, he's weird. Look at him, he's a creep. No, man, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And you tell me what logical, rational person can observe this world, right? Experience their wage slavery, the disparity between the poor and the rich, all of this bullshit, and then drag you into this world. And then you're going to tell me your parents love you. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Your friends are going to sell you out too. This isn't just about family. Your friends are going to sell you out too. Yeah, between the ages of 15 and 20, you're my boy for life. Yeah, bro, let's go and drink. Yeah, you're in contact, everything. And then as soon as they find a girlfriend, what happens? Oh, sorry, bro, I'm busy, bro. Like, yeah, I can't even do that anymore, My missus won't let me. Gumps. Ridiculous. And then if you start to push back against it, all of a sudden, yeah, my missus don't like you. Oh, don't talk about my missus. You see how many ways it can go. You could fall out with your friends, your so-called friends, over a woman. Why? Because you have a different life path. You were made to suffer. They're suffering too, but they have a different pill. They have a different poison which they are ingesting. Your poison is to be alone. Your poison is to be a beacon of light in an extremely dark place. And that's why I say there is a bit of hope, because you have a calling. You might not know what your calling is, but eventually, if you don't take the rope, right? Because some people are using that as a viable option, which I don't promote, right? But I understand it. And I'm sure many of us has had thoughts about that, but I don't want to get into that subject. We'll talk about that one day because we've all struggled with that thought. And some people may say it's weakness. Some people may call it a cop-out, right? And I will give a little teaser on that because that's coming soon, right? We're going to have a topic about the rope. But the reason I don't promote the rope is because I feel like a little bit, it is kind of a cop-out. Because I don't want these people to just be like, oh yeah, all the guys. Because remember, when you're not alive, people could paint you with whatever brush they want. When you are no longer here, they could say whatever they want about you. So I'm saying, stay alive, be strong, be fit, be healthy, become successful, retire early, and then you could start to rub that shit back in their face. Because if you just rope, okay, you might be in another dimension, you could be in heaven, you could be in hell, it could be completely black and nothing at the end of it, and all of this is for nothing. We don't know. So because of that, not knowing that element of mystery, I'm a bit more vengeful, right? I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm a bit more vengeful, right? I'm not saying to make it the lifeblood or the life goal of your mission, but I want to style on these motherfuckers. I'm going to be like, remember when I had nothing? Remember when you overlook me like I was a piece of shit on the floor? No, I'm going to make something of myself and you ain't getting a fucking penny and you can't be in my life and I don't care. That's what I want. I want that. I'm not even promoting. I'm just saying I'm that type of person. You might call it petty, but no, I'm that type of person. If I see somebody that I don't like or they were horrible to me in the past and it's something that I wouldn't say that I can't get over, but if it's something where it's like, this is personal, I want a little bit of revenge. Do you know what I mean? Don't, am I on my own on that one? Because sometimes people talk like, oh, you should just move on. No, you shouldn't just move on. Sometimes it's nice to have some revenge, especially when it's served cold or especially when it's served lukewarm. To me, revenge is actually best served hot, like literally the next day kind of hot. That would be the best, but it's the least reasonable and rational way because it's harder to accomplish. Like, I'll give you an example. Imagine if your parents kicked you out and then the next day you won the lottery. Oh my days, that would be amazing. None of you can lie to me and say that shit wouldn't be fire. And knowing that you're not going to give them a penny, knowing that they're going to be apologizing to you, begging and groveling, and you're going to see the real them come out, the demon inside of them come out. Oh, we didn't mean to kick you out. It was just a test. We was going to call. Shut up. You ain't getting a penny. Imagine if that happened. None of you can fucking tell me, right, that shit wouldn't be so satisfying, right? And I want you guys to be selfish. I want you good brothers to display the same viciousness that these normies display to you. You better do your best to give them your worst. You better give them your worst. Because at this point, you're either with us or against us. I'm sorry. You're with us or against us. And those of us that we can't see eye to eye on certain topics, this is why I'm such a heavy proponent of, look, don't expect echo chambers. Don't expect a monolith. If somebody can agree with at least 50% of what you say, then that person is eligible. You have a foundation, and that's good enough. Because a lot of people, they act very feminine in some ways. A lot of guys nowadays, right, especially younger guys, respectfully, boys, especially younger guys, it's like when I grew up, in my age, remember, I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm not that much older than some of you, but it's like all my friends used to argue with one another. That's all we used to do, argue and fight. But we still had each other's back. We still wanted to spend time with each other. We were still boys. Do you know what I mean? But nowadays, it's like someone could agree with 80 to 90% of what you say, and then you disagree with one or two things, and it's like, oh yeah, fuck you, bro. It's like, what are we doing? I'd rather form alliances with like-minded men because there's not that many of us. So we can't afford to just be, fracturing, right? We definitely need to create delineation, though. That is definitely a fact. Because the same way that I say there's There's blue pills and there's normies. It's also the same when it comes to black pills. There's doomers, there's rotters, there's nihilists, right? There's extreme nihilists, shall I say. Then you've got guys who are, more similar to us, where we're pragmatic nihilists, right? We're people who we're MGTOW, but we still want to make the most out of life. We still actually strive for something. So there's a lot of nuance there. But for the most part, I would prefer if most of us get along. And once we can get along, once we could have some form of code of conduct or some sort of, even if it's an unholy alliance or an uneasy allegiance, we at least have to stick together, because these normies, they want to see you gone. Let me repeat that. These normies want to see you gone. Why? Because you don't conform. Misery loves company, right? And these bastards got the audacity to wonder why men are choosing the rope or opting out of society entirely. They don't understand that we know that it's a setup. We know that the game is rigged. We know that they're miserable. We can see it in their face. We can see it in their body. We can see it in their life path. We can see it in their consequences of their actions. Don't piss on me and tell me it's rain, brother. Don't do that. Because when I observe my friends and family, I'm like, oh yeah, look at all you miserable bastards with 3 children, 2 children. You're all miserable, fat and balding. Going through it. And then you're like, oh yeah, but I'm the weird one because I don't want to take these I don't want to choose these options. I don't want to make these choices. I don't want to get married. I don't want kids. I don't want no woman running me down. And you're going to look at me and say, oh yeah, something's wrong with me. Evolution, brother. Evolution. If you keep doing the same shit and expecting different results, that is the clinical definition of insanity. You are insane. You're trying to beat the odds. We're talking 1,000,000 to 1 odds here. Life ain't got a game shark. There's no cheat codes. You are delusional. So when guys like us say, look, I can see what's going on, sometimes in some way, right? It's actually a benefit to not be attractive. It's actually a benefit in some ways to kind of be a bit socially awkward, because you could look at life in spectator mode. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not a piece of hair floating down the drain, getting dragged along with your own aura, with your own presence, with your own neurotypicality. You're actually somebody that's outside looking in, and then you can observe things and be like, oh, I'm not in that situation, but I can learn from others. And then I could use some of that information, cherry pick here and there, and then form cognizant, rational life decision-making skills which will impact your life, right? So in a way, it is a bit of a benefit. But don't try and socially ostracize us or make us feel like shit because we don't want to do what you do. You can't sell me that shit. You listening, brothers? They can't sell you that shit. And deep down, I'll tell you a secret. Deep down, they're mad. You just got to get them in a vulnerable position. You just got to talk to them when they're drunk enough. You got to talk to them after their child gets arrested, after their daughter gets pregnant, when they're going through a bit of depression. It sounds horrible. It sounds a bit Machiavellianism, but they're so busy putting on a front, putting on a pretend, cosplaying and LARPing like the generational man, right? Like, they're so normal, like everything they're doing is sensible and wise, that you have to catch them in their moments of vulnerability to actually expose the truth. That's how much of a bullshitter that most men are. Why do you have to be emotional and in your feelings to tell the truth? The truth should just be something that just flows naturally. You shouldn't be some fork-tongued devil where you're trying to impress and live up to a status quo 24/7 to the people around you. That's a half-life, in my opinion. That is not freedom. You are in bondage. You are a slave. Not only a wage slave, but you're a slave to your surroundings. You're a slave to your condition. And you thrive in it. And then you try to promote it to others and claim that you thrive in it. I can't believe this shit. And to be honest, right, even for the majority of us, even for the average man, These people, they try to tell us to follow their path. But when do they receive acknowledgement? You and I know. Quick question, when do you receive acknowledgement? When do you receive some form of, you know, placard or some form of praise? We know that it's when you're bent over, when you're serving them, when you sacrifice yourself, when you die in a war, when you go and do some pointless shit that has no benefit to yourself. That's the only time that they want to value you. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're a real man because you raised a whole bunch of children and created new wage slaves to feed the system. Oh, you're a real man because you went and fought for your country over a war that you had no financial, right, or vested interest in. You were just so brainwashed that you thought that these are the bad guys and you got to go do something to stop them. What a fool. What an idiot, right? Fuck you, pendejo. Fuck you. You can't sell me that shit because we're too wise. We're too intelligent. We're critical thinkers. You can't brainwash me. Keep your bullshit. I don't want it. I don't want it. Please, I don't want it. Leave me out. Leave me out. I don't even want no funeral. I don't want no flowers. I don't want no people turning up to my grave. When I get old, I don't want no people turning up to my grave, right? Acting fake. I will save up enough money to put on my gravestone a bronze statue, right? This is my vision of my grave. A bronze statue with a middle finger, right? And on my gravestone, not even a name. Just put my social security number there, right? And the words fuck off in capital letters. And the shit emoji. That's it. Because whoever was around me, they didn't show me enough love or appreciation, and then I chose to live free. I chose to be my own man and live life on my own terms. So if I even cross your mind and you want to turn up to my grave, you're gonna see a big fuck off statue on my gravestone, right? The words fuck off and a shit emoji, right? You're doing that for you, you're not doing that for me. And I want all you guys to have the same attitude, because people like us, we're the ones that, look, we've got issues, right? In many ways, financial issues, mental health issues, issues with health. A lot of us do. There's no getting around that. But that doesn't mean that the objective is going to change. We're going to get this shit done regardless. So we're the people that are going to have to find common ground, camaraderie, and brotherhood within one another. That's it. We're all we got. That's the truth. We're all we got.
All right, no problem.
Danny,
No!
are you serious?
I've been making realistic cakes for over a decade. But today we're looking at viral cakes that just blew up the internet. Some of these cakes are gonna be amazing, and some are going to give me anxiety. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And subscribe. Let's get started.
Is it real or is it cake?
Okay. Real or cake? That's a cake. Aha! I knew it. Having the cake potato next to the real potatoes allows you to compare, and the skin looks ever so slightly more textured than the real potatoes. Is that a mango? I'm gonna go real.
No.
No, I'm going cake. Ooh. You got me. It looks flat on the bottom. I thought it was a cake. Even that table looks like a cake.
Fish or cake?
I know that this is a cake because I know the technique for the scales. You know what? I'm gonna show you. You've got your fondant or your modeling chocolate, and you got a circle piping tip. You go whoop, whoop, whoop. This is a much bigger tip than she has, but you get the idea.
Butter or cake?
I just think that's real butter. I'm gonna go real. Yeah, yep, it's real. Girls in the shower with their clothes on. Do you wear clothes in the shower or know someone who does? That's definitely a cake. The edible printed label is starting to peel off a little. Wait, is that cap real? I think she may have put a real shampoo bottle cap on that cake. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that cap's real. Do you think it's real? What? That's a cake?
That's a cake?
Okay, so we've got a massive amount of very sturdy frosting. I'm thinking it looks like a coiled up snake body. They could have used real straws as a structural support, but those look like they're chocolate sticks, keeping it 100% edible. It's pro move. Looks like we're adding the head. Oh my, I see it now. This looks like it's gonna be adorable. Ah, they're adding belly texture with a rose piping tip. This looks good. Ah, it's not staying smooth. They're adding scales. The texture and repetition is so magical. It is a fact whoever is making this is incredibly talented. The skill required to sculpt something this clean out of frosting is incredible. I love it, 10 out of 10. No! Look at that squat. He felt so bad he didn't know what to do. He just squat. Ah! Okay, so we have a very large sculpted cake with an elaborate structure holding it up. Ooh.